with all the violent elemental passions of the sandstorm. This story of a woman who lived and loved too hard and wanted too much, willing to fight any odds to get it.
Down there I sell whiskey and cards. All you can buy up these stairs is a bullet in the head. Now which do you want?
Starring Joan Crawford, the screen's most dynamic artist. Sterling Hayden as Johnny Guitar.
Johnny Guitar is not your typical Western.
How many men have you forgotten?
As many women as you remember.
Director Martin Scorsese has some interesting observations about the film.
Nicholas Ray had studied architecture under Frank Lloyd Wright, and this might explain in part his fascination with juxtaposing many of his anguished characters against the environment in which they exist. I remember when I first saw it, I enjoyed it, but in the U.S., people expected a Western. Well, and Johnny Guitar seemed like a Western, looked like a Western, but people didn't know what to make of it, so they either ignored it or laughed at it. On the other hand, in Europe, taken out of its American context, they saw a totally different picture. They saw it for what it was, an intense, unconventional, stylized picture full of ambiguities and subtext that rendered it extremely modern. Johnny Guitar has also been seen as really characterizing the paranoia and the witch hunt of the McCarthy era.
Your first amp, $200. Your first strap, $30. Your first guitar, $450.
Mind if I try?
Rock and roll, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Scorsese links the film to the McCarthy era, and he has good reason. The movie was made right in the middle of the so-called Red Scare, and Sterling Hayden was a major player.
He ran guns through the German lines in World War II. The Viking god stood 6 feet 5. Played in Johnny Guitar, the asphalt jungle, the killing, and a long goodbye.
Working closely with the communist partisans later got him in trouble with the McCarthyites. In 1951, he testified before the committee.
I ratted on people during the McCarthy era, huh? Yeah. You haven't the foggiest notion of the contempt I feel for myself. Maybe that's why we drink, huh? Yeah.
On the other side of the coin was Ward Bond, who was well known during the era as one of the right-wingers who pursued liberals that they felt were too soft on communism.
I'm for it. Her too? Her too.
Director Ray himself had been a communist, but for some reason he was never summoned to appear before any committees. Maybe it was the eye patch.
My heroes are no more neurotic than the audience. Unless you can feel that a hero is just as up as you are and that you would make the same mistakes that he would make, you can have no satisfaction when he does commit an heroic act.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he said either, but it's a safe bet that only Ray knew who actually wrote the screenplay for Johnny Guitar. Blacklisted writer Ben Maddow, who had earlier been nominated for an Oscar for John Huston's Asphalt Jungle, which also starred Sterling Hayden.
You're in a rock star. Guitar Hero World Tour. Rated T for Teen.
Why do you come here? I knew you would, but why?
Joan Crawford is a screen legend. She was married to Douglas Fairbanks Jr. in the early 30s, but by the 40s some had written her off as washed up. But in 1945 she revived her career and won an Oscar for Mildred Pierce.
We weren't expecting you, Mildred, obviously.
It's just as well you know.
How long has this been going on?
Well, why don't you go down and ask her?
Mercedes McCambridge's first film, 1949's All the King's Men, resulted in her first and only Oscar. Here she creates an unforgettable character in the demonic Emma.
Just tell us she was one of you, Turkey, and you'll go free.
Speaking of demons, it was McCambridge who dubbed the voice of Linda Blair's character in The Exorcist.
What's that? Holy water. You keep it away. It burns!
Just take those old records off the shelf.
What are you doing?
We're playing the Guitar Hero.
No, there's Guitar Hero Metallica.
So?
So it means you're gonna have to put on some pants, Pops.
Who are you calling Pops?
You really thought we let them prance around in their underwear for our commercial? We think not.
And now, as a special treat, here is a sneak peek at Sad Case Films' latest project, a new film titled Terry Guitar.
Terry Guitar, take 99.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I sit and listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't got the
So here's to all the tough guy actors and the false gods who made him. And wherever he sails tonight on the seven seas, may the Lord sail with Sterling Hayden.